Our speaker today is Steve. Steve, you've been with us a year now?
About a year.
About a year. Very interesting presentation to learn more about what Steve does. So, Steve, I will put it in your hands.
It's actually exactly a year, August 10th last year.
Wow.
Cool. My name is Steve. I'm from Merager Financial Solutions. We provide CFO solutions and finance and accounting departments for small businesses. So what that means is we are the point people for everything that your company needs. And that includes everything from doing collecting with, speaking to your clients and asking them to pay some overdue bills. It might be talking with vendors to get a lower price. Dealing with the government and all the crazy things that they need from us, each of us individually. What we do is we take the burden off of the leader of your company and just take over the financial side with full transparency to the business owner so that they can do that beautiful thing that they do, that their small business was set up to do. So that's it. So today what I was, my original thought on this was top 5 mistakes of small businesses. I'm going to go the positive direction. Top 5 successful things that small businesses do. The way they can be successful. So the first one is the business owner knowing that the money that's in their checking account isn't their financial picture. That what they have, what they need, goes much further than just the here and now. They will have plans. They will have needs in the future. And so what's in the bank right now it's relevant, certainly, but cash flow now and into the future is the key piece for every business owner to be very aware of. So that really leads into planning, long-term planning. And that can include this horrible word that people think of it as a horrible word, but budgeting. But budgeting really is, business owners have a plan. They often have a plan, whether it's in their mind or they've written it out. But the thing is, when you put the numbers down, it's saying exactly what your handwritten thought plans are for your business, but it's in a language. It's in a very precise language that you can use to determine, do I have enough income? Do I have enough expenses going forward every month? Do I have enough? Is my plan? Am I going to have enough resources to satisfy my plan to make that happen? The long-term planning, it can include staffing. It can include marketing, something that's going to happen in the future. So what we can do is create long-term cash projections. And it's relatively easy to do, but most business owners, they really shouldn't take the time. They shouldn't take the time away from what they do best to try to figure out how to do that. So the number 3, so that was long-term planning, that was number 2. So the second thing that successful small business owners do is pricing. And they look at their pricing every 6 months to every year. It should be at least 6 months. Pricing is a really interesting thing. There's so many different things that go into it, and it's not just what is my competition doing. It really gets into how people think about things, how people think about pricing. There's this really, I think, incredibly interesting way of pricing that's really interesting. And so if you want to sell something, let's say you just have one thing that you actually want to sell, and you put out there, this is my one package that I want to sell, you may not get too many bites on that. Or if you have 2, so you have a low-priced option, and then you have the one that you want to sell. People look at the low one and they look at the high one, and they go, ooh, maybe I'll just take the low one, right? So if you have 3 packages that you want to sell, like a really cheap one, the one you want to sell mid-priced, and then one that's even maybe multiple times more expensive than your mid-priced one, you'll sell much many more of your mid-priced products. And it's the way people think. They look at the two and they go, I need more than that, but that's crazy, I don't need that much, but that looks just right. So the pricing should be looked at on a very regular basis, and there could be, the worst thing is if a price is set and never adjusted, that you never look at, let's say you sold floppy disks, right? And you just kept happily selling floppy disks, and maybe you reduce your price. At some point, you're going to need to realize the risk of selling floppy disks and realize that is going to go the way of the buggy whip. So that's number 3, pricing. The fourth item that successful business owners do on a regular basis is they pivot their business. They realize that the world is not static, that it's dynamic, that there's so many things happening in the world that can change even their business model as it stands. New realities in the marketplace. Again, there were companies selling 3.5-inch floppy disks, and at some point, if that's what their thought was, if this is my product, they'd be out of business, or they would have gone to get a loan from a bank, and the bank said, "Are you crazy? You're all in with floppy disks, and nobody's going to be buying that in whatever amount of time." So it's really important to continuously look at that. Even if something has been profitable for a long time, sometimes it's critical to just dump the product, to just get rid of what it is you've been doing. You could have new competition. If you own a car wash, great. You own a car wash, it's been great to your family, and now a new car wash has just opened up half a mile away. What has that done to you? Do you have a better location that you're going to get more people in? How has that affected you? Maybe it won't. Maybe they have a horrible location, and you get all the traffic that's going to turn and go to their property into yours. If you're clever about it. So that's number 4 of the top ways that successful small business owners work their company. And the 5th success is that they try to limit the number of funding sources. This is really specific to the financial side. Confusion will kill a company, and especially if a business owner is doing all the work themselves. They really don't understand, or it's simply easy to charge the credit card. Maybe the 18%, whatever it is, and just get past that need at that exact moment. So there's all of these things, and I've seen businesses that have done that, and they have 15 different funding sources, and they really don't know where they're going, and they don't understand how that's going to affect their business down the line. They haven't seen how much the interest is going to cost their business. They haven't thought about, listen, I have this high interest credit card. How many more of my things am I going to have to sell to make that up? So simplification, I think, is really critical. Sometimes it's necessary to do that. Sometimes you can get a business loan and really consolidate all of your loans. That would typically be a really good thing to do, so that you have a low interest rate, you have a line of credit, and there's other advantages to that as well. But cash flow, knowing what your cash flow is and how all of the things that you're doing affect your cash flow is just absolutely critical. So that's number 5 ways for your company to be successful. Do you guys have any questions?
In your professional opinion, why would you want to put a commercial line of credit in place?
Well,
for your cash flow.
Self-serving question.
It's a set.
well, first of all, Very nicely done, by the way. Very nicely done. So, first of all, you get a professional opinion of your business. They're going to look at your business very closely and let you know if that makes sense. The second thing is I would certainly recommend that a company do that to consolidate their debt. So that they have a known, hopefully hopefully it would just be that single loan. So that you would just have that single loan, so that you, for your cash flow needs, then you would know this is how much the interest is going to be. And it really simplifies things tremendously. And that's the point at which perhaps, that sort of the demarcation of when your business has gone professional, when you have a business loan, business line of credit. I think after a while, after paying that off, I think the ideal would be to not use it. But it's always good to have that there. Always good. So if your cash flow, if you see that your cash flow is going to go to the negative, that you have that available to you. Any other questions? Yeah, Rob?
We had our one-on-one, and you shared like a really, I think, a very important story with me, because it made me see like the value you have in going into any type of business, regardless if they need a CEO or not, or CFO or not, is you shared how I think the person was owing money for like a year and a half. Can you just share like that story, and that's a service you are great at providing?
Yeah. It was really interesting too. So there was a company, one of my clients, and they had invoices that went back. It was 14 months, and what it equaled was 4 months of their profit. And this company was in a very difficult place. And it was sort of interesting the way the CEO sort of thought about it, because he didn't say, this is incredibly important, we need to get this money in. I sort of just saw it, he was showing me something else, and I saw it, and I said, wow, that's an opportunity. He said, I don't think they're going to pay anything. We should write that off. And I said, okay, so let me take that on as a project. I will contact him. I'll start, and I describe what that process was. And a lot of times, it's simply having a professional, just a little professional. You do realize that you owe this money. Let's talk about it. Let's get some exposure on this. I'll call you. And so.
Did it involve a baseball bat?
No. It was actually Canada, so I would have had to fly there. Could
Made
have
it
written that
maple?
off. That would have been pretty sweet. I don't know if I could have gotten the baseball bat. But yeah. So really, what it took was a few emails and a couple of phone calls, and what it sounds like. So people don't like. A lot of people are conflict averse. So if you just say, I'm going to call you at this time, and then after that, I'll call you in 2 days, let's make sure that this happened. He paid the full amount. He paid the full amount in 2 weeks. And as I said, my client was in a very desperate place, and so it gave him a lot of breathing room.
Did he make it?
Huh?
Did he make it?
Yeah, he's still going. And now he has plans, so he was considering shutting down one part of his business. He has this piece of software that he dearly loves, and he really believes in it. And after that, he's now revived his software business, part of his business, and he believes it's going to be a multi-million-dollar business. So that was really quite satisfying.
What percentage of jobs in the United States are created by small business?
That's a good question. I don't know.
70%.
70%. Small businesses just like ours.
Great
I might add,
statistic.
not government.
Great statistic.
You
Any
might.
other questions?
Any other questions?
No.
Steve?
Okay.
Okay, well, thank you.